My body, my choice. That's one of the most common sort of on-the-street defenses for abortion. And the rationale goes like this. A woman has a right to do whatever she wants with her own body. And so since the unborn is allegedly merely part of the woman's body, therefore she's allowed to have an abortion. But here's the key question. If the unborn is merely part of the mother's body, then what part of the woman is missing after an abortion? Well, the answer is obvious. Nothing. All the parts of the woman are still present after an abortion. And that's because the unborn is not part of her body, but rather a separate body that lies within her. Now, this question of whether the unborn is merely a part of the mother's body is actually a scientific question. And if you look at the science of embryology on this question, it is decisive in answering this question. And it turns out there are a number of different qualities and characteristics that are different about the unborn than they are about the mother. So for example, gender. The unborn's gender can be different than that of the mother. And so for example, if the unborn is a boy, then the unborn has male genitals. Now clearly the mother does not have male genitals as a part of her body, and so that's why we conclude that the unborn is different than the mother's body. Or furthermore, there's also DNA. The unborn's DNA, its genetic signature, is completely different and unique from the mother and from the father for that matter. In fact, if the unborn was merely part of the mother, then his or her DNA would be identical to the mother in the same way that the mother's colon or appendix or tonsils or eyes or teeth, all those have the same DNA as the mother, but the unborn's DNA is completely and uniquely different. And that's why we conclude that the unborn is a different body than the mother. Furthermore, we have evidence from the brain and the fact that the unborn has a different brain and central nervous system and different brainwave pattern from the mother. The unborn also has a different heart, has a different heartbeat, has a different blood type. The unborn has a different blood circulatory system than the mother. And here's what's interesting about that whole notion of the blood circulatory system. In the placenta, the unborn's blood and the mother's blood comes very, very close together, but they never overlap or they never connect or they never mix. Now, if there's a problem in the placenta where the blood of the unborn and the blood of the mother mix, then here's what happens. The mother's body mounts an immune response against the unborn child's body. Why? It's because the mother's body perceives the unborn as a separate body, a different being, not merely part of her body. Right? The mother's immune system does not attack her own heart or her own eyes or her own bones because they are merely part of her body. But the mother's body does mount an immune response against the unborn child if there is a problem in the placenta because it knows that that unborn entity is a separate being, unique and different from the mother's body. Now, furthermore, we also know that you can actually conceive of the unborn outside of the mother's body through in vitro fertilization inside a lab, and then later on at some point in development, place that unborn child into the mother's body, which is again further evidence in realizing that, look, we're not talking about the same body. And finally, I'll suggest to you this, that through surrogacy today, you can have a child that is 100% African American growing inside a mother who is 100% Swedish. You can have a completely different race and ethnicity of the unborn from the mother. Because again, if you just imagine that in your mind, we're clearly talking about a different body. So the claim that the mother can have an abortion merely because the unborn is just a part of her body is simply not scientifically accurate. It flies in the face of everything we know about the science of embryology. It's just not true.